Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 57. This is our weekly music, gear, production, and marketing podcast. And today we're talking some price drops on synths, which carries over from last week. It's very good news indeed. Let me unmute the two gentlemen just in case they want to add some side commentary. And then we'll be talking, well, I won't be talking about it because I don't use it, but the other two will. The Ableton update, I believe it's in public beta. Correct me if I'm wrong, Curtis.
Yes, it is very much, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I was like, we actually got it recommended by one of our patrons who's in the chat, Bendu. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for joining us today. So we're going to take a look at it. And as the two people above me use Ableton, they can share their excitement, unexcitement, disappointment. Well, I don't know. You tell me, or we'll talk about it then. But anyways, thanks to everyone who's joining us live in the chat. Let us know what you've been up to this week, if any gear or updates have caught your eye. But we're live. Thanks for joining us. And with me today is Eon Lake. What's going on, Eon Lake?
Wow. What is going on? I'm not quite sure.
That's
I know
all
what
right.
I've been doing, though. I've done another one of my great ideas where I thought I would overcome the limitations of physical gear and
You?
do a modular song in the box. That
Oh,
way
wow.
I could have total
nice.
recall.
Is that with like VCV rack or?
I was using soft tube modular and various instances because they've got IntelliGel modules, some Mutable Instruments ones, some Dopeful ones. And I thought it'd be a great idea on doing a little thing in investigating patterns, except the short version of this story is after about 8 tracks and 8 instances of modular, my laptop started like a hairdryer and came crashing to a halt. So,
oh, geez.
Yeah, I didn't get as far with it as I thought I would. But it's kind of interesting to experiment with it. Maybe VCV would be lighter on resources. Maybe I'll try that. But got a good idea now.
What was the impetus of just getting away from the physical gear and seeing what can be done in the box?
It was mainly to have total recall. I wanted certain sounds to investigate patterns with, and then once I had an arrangement, I wanted to make them evolve and change in a way that I know how to do with modular. But I didn't want to be faffed with having to have it around for.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Eon Lake, but Curtis just caused all of our ears to explode. Sorry about that, everyone. Here, I was like, I'm gonna mute him while he has that teacup because I don't want another slam. And then he said something. The beauty of live shows, I guess. Well, that brings up a good point, though. Also with us today is our Audionautic co-pilot and banger of microphones, Curtis. What's going on?
Hi, just wanted to let everyone know that I am here too. That's all that was. Yeah.
He's like, Like's taking too much time.
Joyful. Yes, very much live, very much not recorded. Well, happy to be here. Wonderful. Hello, everyone.
We're happy to have our ears blasted by you.
Apologies, very much so. We will be investing in a new microphone. I've been saying that for months. I need to get a new microphone. It'll come eventually.
Actually, I think it's been about 57 weeks.
I think it's been about 57 weeks. Yeah, I think it's genuinely been since we started doing ADSN. I think that's been the idea. We shall see what happens. I like keep everyone on their toes. You never know when's Curtis going to get a new microphone. You never know.
When are those wubs going to appear?
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's been a good week. In a way, I've been looking a lot at ambient. I've been going back to ambient, trying to derail the whole key signature, time signature thing by looking at just making noises and making textures work. That's been a lot of fun. That's a whole different ballgame. Forgot how much fun that is, to be honest. Yeah,
definitely. It's a lot of fun. So have you just been kind of holding drone notes and seeing what pops out after that, or what?
It's been a bit of that. It's been a bit of layering. It's been a lot of working with the control pad as well. So like the launch pad, I should say. Launch control, launch pad, the pad control. So it's one of those where you're playing by squares and you're playing with a predetermined scale, and you don't. I mean, you know what your root note is, but that could be arbitrary at this stage. And then you're using weird scales, and you're using weird notes and things like that. And I've always traditionally been with keyboard and playing chords and moving from chord to chord. And this is just a different way for me, because this is totally could be absolutely random, and it could be anything, which takes a lot of pressure off the whole kind of, is it in the right key? Is it going to sound good together? That kind of thing. So a different way to do it. So I can focus on sound design. That kind of
Looks
thing.
like Frequency Control Center agrees with you. He says that is fun. Been doing a bit of that this week.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean, that's a
tell us
cool way to
more.
do it.
Tell us more, FCC. What have you been doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, spoiler alert, but he will be joining us later, or should be, at least according to our schedule today, Curtis. Right? I believe I didn't mix up days. Yeah, okay. So he'll be joining us, so he can actually tell us more then when he pops on in. But yeah.
What have you been doing? It is fun. What have you been doing, Sam Walker?
Oh man, it's crunch time for oh, that's you.
That's me. We need to you.
I don't know why it's still set to you. There we go. And I gotta get Eon Lake again, actually. Hold on there. That just I was bad about the edit today. Sorry, but I just needed a picture of Eon Lake there for a second, because I focused on Curtis when he spoke, and I'd be remiss if I didn't focus. And we also have Shady Ridge in the chat. He says, hey guys, how's it going, Shady? Welcome. Let's see. So yeah, it's crunch time for this big project I've been working on. It's a 6-episode arc of music for a webcomic, and every song is very different from the other songs. But the first one is this like massive synthwave, just like heist, like craziness. It's pretty crazy. But I actually used a recommendation from Bendu, one of our patrons, about a synth sound. I needed a really cool, like 80s-ish sounding but fat synth bass, and he was like, try that MG1. He always sings the praises of the Cherry Audio MG1. So there's about 18 instances of the MG1 in this song. So yeah, it's going. But that one's done, so I'm glad to have that one done. And then it was 404 day yesterday. So I had to put up a video making some jazzy beats from samples. So that was fun. But that's what I've been up to.
That's interesting. We've talking. Obviously, yesterday was 404 day, and we'll be talking a little bit about that later when it comes to some stuff that we found online. I don't know about you guys. We're like walking into work and like just going around saying happy 404 day. Oh, did you realize it's 404 day? And most people going, what?
That's when you just go like this. Ah! Just show them this guy. Oh, I think Curtis, did you freeze? There you go. Okay.
I'm here.
You froze for a second on my end, so
I was so amazed by the idea of you putting your SP404. I didn't realize you had an SP404, so I was like, whoa.
I just carry it around with me everywhere I go,
You're that dude that at a party, like you go, my name's Sun Warper. I play the SP404.
No, I just go, have you heard the word of 404?
Yeah.
That is a Beatles song if I've ever heard it. That's what you mean.
Have you accepted the 404 as your personal savior? Because I have.
That is another way of looking at it. It's wonderful to see the chat alive. Bendu, Shady, Frequency Control Center. Very nice to have you here. Thank you ever so much. It's lovely to hear what you've been up to. Tell us more. What you've been doing, where you've been going. Hopefully you're having a good time. Yeah, let us know. And if you like what we're doing, consider sharing the link, letting people know. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, very much so. But we appreciate you all hanging out, and we've got some news to talk about. So where do you want to start?
It's a very good question. We could start with gear. I mean, gear everyone likes. We have 2 sets of gear. We've got the Ableton. We've got the 404 stuff. Why don't we go with the Hydra?
Actually, I think almost everything is gear today.
I suppose it is Ableton. Ableton is technically gear. We'll go with it.
Yeah.
But let's go with, I think, the one that caught all of our eye, I believe. What's going on with ASM? I
thought you were going to say Ableton. I was like,
well,
oh, wow. Nope.
We'll save the door wars for a bit later. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Ableton? That's probably what we.
All you need is dollars, man, right? No.
This is the brand new, well, not brand new, but this is the word coming out of ASM, the Hydra Synth. If I'm sharing that, is that going?
Yeah, it popped up before Eon Lake, so I was like, why is it before Eon Lake?
Well, I mean,
nothing's before Eon Lake.
Nothing's really. The one and only Eon Lake. That's the only thing that we need. This show should just be Eon Lake for 30 minutes, just a photo. That's what it needs to be.
Well, we can do this.
What was that?
If you guys would just like more of Eon Lake, just let us know in the comments. It'd be really appreciated. Let us know what's going. But yes, this is the Hydra Synth Explorer. It's come down to a lovely $499 off of previously $599. Wonderful digital poly synth, 8 voice polyphonic, 32 mid-sized keyboards, OLED displays. 2 oscillators that go 32 pass. 3 oscillators with oscillators 1 and 2, looking at wave scanning. Filters galore, CV and gate outs for easy integration with modular synthworks. We've looked at this before. I think we've all sung its praises to a degree.
Well,
and that
without owning it, but from what we see, it looks incredible.
It's definitely something. It's definitely something that if I had $500, that I would be investing in.
I must say, honestly, I'm very tempted to sell. Let me see if it'll show. Actually, I don't think it's. Well, actually, it does. I'm very tempted to sell my mini log and use it as partial funding for the Explorer, because I'm in need of like a new synth, and honestly, in this DAW setup, it's kind of just there. It's not actually used at the moment. I've used it a ton for years, and I kind of just want something new. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious if anybody in the chat has one or is looking at it. Let me know your take on it.
The question, I suppose, becomes, before we get Eon Lake's take, the Explorer or the Hydra Synth, the full-size one? That's the question.
Yeah, budget becomes the bigger question.
Budget becomes the bigger
because
question.
I believe this is, well, there's a desktop one, but I think this one might be the cheapest one.
This is, the Explorer.
Let me go back to the screen because you got the picture up.
Yeah, the Explorer is the smaller one with the smaller keys. I personally, I think it would fit quite nicely next to my monologue. Personally, I could always see it though in there. But
Real quick, Hydro Fighter is in the chat. He says, "Hey guys, what's going on, Hydro Fighter? How are you today? What you been up to?"
Nice to see you there, bro. Thank you ever so much for joining us. But yeah, Eon Lake, is this going to go on your next Amazon wish list?
No.
Really? Interesting. Any particular reason?
I can't buy any more synths.
This is like hell froze over or something.
Yeah. No, I really like the look of it. I do. I really like the sound of it as well. I like the fact it's got 2 filters per voice. What? But I've got the Cobalt 8 as my digital poly synth with effects and stacks and stacks of different VCO shapes and so on. So I can't really justify something that's similar, although I'd really like to and have the money for it. And maybe if, things had been different, I'd have got that instead had it been available at that price at the time. Because, who doesn't want it really? But I'm not about to start selling stuff and all that faffing about. I mustn't get distracted.
Stay the course, man. Be strong. Be strong. But what this did bring up, especially considering the news we talked about last week, where we were talking about price drops from Behringer, is this is a pretty cool time, or a very interesting time, to see synth prices going down at the moment. Yeah, especially with a lot of things, inflation, things like that. It's cool to see prices going down. So I try, like we talked about with that, looking at making IDM and how accessible plugins and stuff can be. I try to look at the positive things that's going on rather than the more dark and dystopic stuff that's always being carried, like subscription services, shall we say. But it's good to celebrate these wins. So yeah.
Things getting cheaper. What? Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's me. But is it still in that really sort of nice hard metal case?
I think so. I don't think they've changed anything about it. Well, I don't know if this one's in that case, though, because this is that cheaper end version. But yeah.
It doesn't say anything.
One of the good things about the bigger one is it is pretty solidly built.
And I'm not saying this one isn't. I don't know. So it might be.
It's not.
What is your take on this?
I mean, I would love it. I'd love it as a little companion to these two here.
Yeah.
I think, arpeggiators, a mono synth and then a poly synth in the Hydra Synth Explorer. I think that'd be really nice. The versatility seems deeper than that of the Ultranova, and I really love the Ultranova for its versatility. And then the ability to, the one thing that this doesn't do so well, I feel, is like big, thick, lush pads. Like that's really hard to kind of ascertain. You've got those kind of modern EDM-y kind of vibes, but but I feel like the Hydra Synth can do a lot more in the sound design from what I've seen. The integration of the heads-up display. So I can't remember the name of the word, but the heads-up display, basically the interface of it all looks really intuitive, and that really speaks to me. If anyone has one lying around that they just don't want anymore, I'll take it. Otherwise, I will be saving, and the next time I've got $500 to spend on a synth and I can justify it.
I was going to say after a microphone.
After a microphone, it will be something that I'm getting on board with. It's a wonderful piece of kit, and what I can see in terms of sound design, I don't think it's one of those where if you really want to get into sound design in synthesizers and stuff, that is it's a relatively cheap way of doing it. Really
I mean, I think you're still sharing the screen with everything it offers. There's a lot in terms of sound design that is doable, and I believe it's the exact same inner workings as the more expensive one. It's just in that smaller case. I don't think there's anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I remember when it came out, it's the exact same, like polyphony, all that stuff. It's just in a smaller design, and obviously loses some tactile controls to make it smaller and such. But a
good digital polysynth it can be a real workhorse. I mean, especially when they're not big like that. It's you could gig with it as well. It's got shit tons of patch memories. Everything comes straight back. Loads of range. They do mono sounds as well. You can get hyper saws and super saws and stuff on them. They do loads of stuff. If you only had one piece of hardware, given that with digital you tend to get a lot more waveforms and sound variety,
polyphony too,
and polyphony, and usually effects built in and stuff as well. If you only had one thing that was hardware to go next to your laptop, it wouldn't be a bad choice, would it?
Yeah, and if you have a lot of analog stuff, it's always nice to get something very different too, and just like have that digital. Then you can get the warm analog, you can get that digital, way more sound design accessibility and stuff. But we do have an interesting question that was sparked by Curtis wishing he had 500 at the moment to buy a synth with. Frequency Control Center says, it's a good question. If you had 500 free, what would you buy? And I would say either the Hydra Synth or I don't know, probably the Hydra Synth, or maybe like a used Digitact.
Or how much is the Mini Freak? It's more than that, isn't it? A little bit.
I think it's 550 or 600.
I'd be looking at those two for digital polysynths.
The Mini Freak gives it a run for its money for sure. What about you, Curtis?
I would similar. Either the Mini Freak. I think the Mini Freak looked really nice. I'm just searching how much the Mini Freak actually is.
I'd probably be looking at the pair of them, and then trying to convince myself that this one's a bargain now because it's cheaper. For that.
Currently, the Hydra Synth Explorer is just a little bit more than the Mini Freak by
about. What's the Mini Freak?
So the Mini Freak. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to do my check conversions, aren't I? The Mini Freak is 14,500 Czech crowns, which is hang on, and USD. The Mini Freak at the moment is over here. The Mini Freak is $600 essentially.
Well, that's what it is now. I wonder if that's with the price drop though, because it's at least here and everywhere from this news, it went from 600 to 500.
Yeah, so I think this.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Hydra Synth. You said Hydra Synth, right? Or did you say Mini Freak?
I said Mini Freak.
Okay, yeah, the Mini Freak then is I think it is 600 then everywhere. So this one is 100 cheaper, but you could get the Hydra Synth. Man, I'm getting all chopped on words today. The Hydra Synth, and then get that plugin of the Mini Freak, right? I think the plugin's only 100 or 200, so it's not 500 straight. But you could get kind of the best of both worlds and use the Hydra Synth as a MIDI for the Mini Freak.
Very much so. Yeah.
But FCC, what would you get if you had 500? And also, we've got Maureen's friend. He says, "What's up?" Well, hello, Maureen's friend. What's going on?
Nice to see you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Question is, if you had £500 or $500, what would you buy? And if you had it free, what would you buy?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
chat, let us know.
Yeah, really
Go.
want to know.
It doesn't have to be gear. We just always think in gear.
Yeah.
So
Such gear nerds, aren't we? We're such
yeah.
gear nerds.
I mean, that's kind of the point of the show, right? So yeah.
That's
Very much so. So that is the Hydra Synth Explorer, which is down now $100 to $499. Very much more affordable. Very good entrance. Workhorse, I think, is the best description of it. I feel in that regard, it can do anything and everything. Which, if it's your first piece of gear, what better way to spend it, I suppose. But speaking of gear, we have some good news from Chompi. Do we want to tell people? Yeah. Last week in the show, we talked about Chompi, which was a wonderful little Kickstarter company that were making samplers in a really nice, novel fashion. They had a
little suitcase look.
Yeah. They had a wonderful little Kickstarter going, and what was it, 30,000 they wanted? Is that right?
I believe the pledge that they asked was for 30,000.
Yeah.
It should say on that link I sent you.
Yeah, so it's here.
There
It's here. Just putting this one up here.
It just went up again too.
Exactly. Wonderfully kooky, wonderfully novel, different, very different. You can have a look at our previous episode where we went through this video kind of showing what it looked like. Their goal, as you can see from the page, $30,000. They managed to raise $1,189,793, which is
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Smash.
Another thing to celebrate good news: a small independent company, getting their pledge met and well beyond. I think that's really cool.
It is. Eon, like, you gonna buy it yet?
Dude, he's trying not to.
I'd love to. I would. I'm really taken by this thing. And I like the fact that people are making stuff like this, odd little things. We talked about it before, but I like quirky instruments that have got their own vibe. And it's weird because if you look at what it does on paper, you just think, well, why the hell would we need another one of those? And, there's just no need for it. But then you see it and think, and the way that it sounds, that it's pretty musical, the way that it does mess with the sounds that you record.
Yes, pitching is pretty crazy. The algorithm for pitch or repitching is awesome. When he took that loop that he made and just dropped it down, and it just became this expansive ambient soundscape, I was like, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that I like these things that seem to transcend their form factor and purpose a bit, just by being sort of well designed and musical in the way that they make sound and so on. Sometimes they just sort of get this extra X factor because they kind of hit a sweet spot or something, and this does look like one of those things to me. I would love to see that thing with his silly little handle and then look up and see a sea of people.
Make some bangers on it.
Yeah. Proper bangers.
Curtis, what about you? You thinking of getting it?
Again, I think if I had the money, I would. I think it's one of those things where I feel like if I had a kid, if I had a little Curtis Jr., I think that I would get it, and that would be the beginnings of the indoctrination, I believe, in the best of
making
ways.
Sure that they do music.
Yeah, you can be whatever you want. You can dream.
But here's Chompi.
But here is Chompi, and you will learn and love Chompi.
You must make beats, though.
Exactly. If you're not using this, then I don't want to know.
Disowned.
Exactly. I think it's
terrible, man.
I'd love it. I would. I really think it'd be great. I think I said it last week in the sense that it's nice that it's kooky and it's a bit different. It doesn't take itself too seriously. These sleek black boxes that we're all so used to seeing do take themselves very seriously, and for good reason. It's just nice to have an outlier that goes, "Hey, life is weird. Let's run with it." What are you thinking, Sunwalker?
Big pink jog wheel.
I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm trying to convince myself I don't need every single sampler in existence, but it's hard. It's very hard. I love, as you know, my SP. And it's just like they all offer something a little different. And this one just seems like such a cool sound design. Like for sound design, it just seems incredible. You know, like just like what I was saying when they were repitching those sounds, and it just became this crazy lush thing to just throw that in a DAW or something and then chop it up, and you could make all these cool little splices of sound and things like that. I mean, it's awesome.
It's got your name written on it, really, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's Chompi Warper.
Mind you, I mean, it's not cheap, is it?
I think that's 500.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna rescind my Hydra Synth and say if I have 500, I get that.
I tell you what,
Chompi.
I'll get the. I tell you what, I'll get the Explorer. You get the Chompi. We'll have it for 2 or 3 years, and then we'll trade.
Yeah, there we go. And Pat does say that you need every sampler. It's the law. Yeah, I mean,
there you go. See, yeah.
I can't argue with that.
In case you were wondering.
So yeah, that's the Chompi, guys. Thought we'd let you know what's going on there. Wonderful little update. Again, lovely to see things come through in that own regard. Isn't it nice? That's it. That is an of agreement in unison. If anyone else wants to say let us know in the chat.
Maybe they all did at the same time. I mean, there is latency, but you know, at the time that they're watching, maybe they caught it.
Maybe through. So yeah. Before we go on to the next piece of news that we got for today is actually coming in from our Discord, which if you are a fan of what we're doing, there's a little community growing over on Discord. This is sent in by Bendu, who also happens to be one of our patrons. Thank you very much indeed. It's a wonderful piece from Ableton Live 11.3. Who would like to take the lead on this one?
Not me.
Certainly Sunwalker, yeah.
Certainly Sunwalker famed for his use of Ableton.
Oh, wait.
There we go.
Oh,
It's nice to see people interact with the things that we put out into the universe. It's lovely.
But really quick, I'm just going to check. If you do want to head to the Discord or the Patreon, if you want to help support what we do, there's also additional stuff. We have additional channels for patrons and monthly, soon to be twice monthly hangouts. The next one is not this Sunday, but next Sunday, right?
16th, yeah.
16th, yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah, so if you want to hang out, we talk gear and all that stuff. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, you know, help with something like Curtis was trying to figure out a new way to work with Ableton, the last one, that's where we do it. So if you want to check out the Discord, it's for everyone, or the Patreon and help support what we do, head to the links in the description.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah, without much further ado, the newest news coming in from Ableton, sent in by Bendu, is really cool. 11.3 is now a public beta, or beta, as some people would say. Maybe if I can zoom in, it might be a little bit easier for people.
Here, I can also do this.
So I don't know anything about this yet. So this is so I can do an honest reaction video to this one.
Well, it's cool. We have another link, which I'll bring up in a sec, which kind of shows some of the capabilities. The main thing seems to be that they've added a new synth called Drift, which is an MPE capable synth. And it sounds pretty nice. I'll play it in a little bit as well. There's a little sound, which again is sent in by Bendu. So thank you, Ben, for this. This really helps. And it's lovely to know that everyone is interested in Ableton as we are, because some will put Ableton is the best, and there is only Ableton ever.
Don't be so dogmatic, man.
Everything's dogmatic.
You of all people.
Yeah, very much. So yeah, we'll have a look at it in a moment. But as well as Drift, it comes down to they've updated and upgraded the MPE capability for analog, tension, and electric, which is a new UI and a reduced CPU load, which if we're running 18 instances of something because we want to, it's probably a good idea.
Hey, that Cherry Audio MG1 is pretty light on the CPU though, so
that's fair. I wonder, more and more people switching to things like laptop production and on the go, that kind of thing, without interfaces. It's a nice thing to see. You know, it's a very nice thing to see. There is also an updated core library with expressive content. No more information about that, but the core library of all the samples and all the stuff It's lovely. It's a wonderful treasure trove of downloadable sounds and sonics and wibbly jibbly things that make you go, ooh.
I just want to say how nice it is to see some dissenting opinions from what you're saying in the chat. There are people that agree. There are dozens of us that don't use Ableton. No, Pat says it's like a cult. And then Frequency Control Center, who I believe uses Reason, which is a fun little DAW. He says, no, Ableton, boo. I mean, hey, whatever works for anyone, you know, it's all good.
I'll tell you what. What if I was
making music? You get on with it.
Yeah.
If I'm being facetious, obviously use any DAW that you want to believe.
No, I don't think you are.
I'm not. I mean every word.
There we go. I will put this up and then we'll get our honest takes. This is the main thing. The main thing is this drift VST, which has come through, which sounds pretty cool. I had a little bit of it. What's that? What?
Tempt me with this drift thing.
Now wait, is it free in the update?
It's part. If you are part of Ableton, if you have Ableton, whether it be light or all the way up to suite, if you have it already, then it's a free beta. You can try it, and then I believe. I haven't had Ableton long enough to get a proper upgrade from 10 to 11. I bought 11, but I believe that you will be able to upgrade for free when you get it, or if you have it already. That's what I believe.
Yeah, so it's just a standard Ableton 11 update, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It's an Ableton 11 update. So yeah, if I bring this up, let's have a listen to this. I got my ears pricked up, very dead mousey. So I'm going to show you this. So yeah, here we go.
Nice gray background to it.
Can change it. You can have dark gray as well.
Okay.
I'll leave that there for now because I mean, let's listen to us, not that dude.
Yeah.
Well, he's got it. I'd be curious his take, but I guess it's just running through the patches and stuff like that.
Sales pitch.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I mean, that looks like a fun little toy box to play around with.
Yeah, it looks very cool. And if that's what you get as a free upgrade for already owning, like if it's just a upgrade path of update, that's pretty cool. It reminds me a little bit in terms of sound. Now that's obviously very much meant to sound like that dead mousey EDM type stuff, but the Europa synth and Reason can do a lot of that stuff. And I guess like Serum probably too, whatever have you. But I like when there's those stock synths that can do these crazy things like Alchemy and Logic, Europa in Reason. I say those because those are the two I know from using those DAWs, but it's nice to see that a new synth going for free. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love those grainy, tearing sounds when you start morphing controls. It's getting tonality that you don't necessarily get via other methods. I like the sound of that. I will use it to make odd noises.
Bendu says that we do have a cult member in the chat. Bendu, that's what I'm assuming from this message. Bendu, let us know your take on it as a member, and then FCC has his take as a Reason user. He says, nice, sounds great, but still no, I need my comfy DAW. Yeah, I know. Moving from DAW to DAW is a stressful moment. It can be rough trying to figure out all the things. I remember when I was using Ableton for a live set in 2020, trying to figure everything out was just a nightmare.
Yeah, it took me a while when I moved from Logic to Ableton.
Yeah.
And I did find it quite frustrating at first, just not being able to do things quicker. But,
but now I'm sure it's like secondhand, right?
Like slippers now, comfy slippers. And it's quick and easy. When you know it, like any DAW is really. If I'm honest, I like to make jokes about it, but
Still the same.
It is easy once you get used to it.
Yeah.
I've been working with some guys at work who are making their first kind of like their first beats, their first EPs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And there's this one guy who came to me. He's using FL. Now I used FL for 10 years before I switched across to Ableton, and I knew FL like the back of my hand. But it's been a while since I used FL. He brings me his project file, and I'm like, it's FL. Don't worry, bring it over. We'll have a look at your mix, and we'll polish it. I load everything up, and I put it into the studio, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I know nothing. I know nothing.
Well, it's been what, a year or two since you were using FL like religiously?
Changed that much?
It's not so much about how much it's changed. It's still the same, but I suppose it's now. The reason I moved away from FL in the first place was because its intuition is not very there in terms of things like automation and things like that. Whereas with Ableton, it works for my brain. And so coming back to FL, I think I've just kind of pushed it into the nether regions of my cranium, and it's just no longer necessary. So I'm bringing it up, and there's been a few UI changes and some color changes and some things that don't work, and I'm like, it's like coming back to we've all had those moments where you've had a heavy night out and you wake up and you wonder where you are and what's going on. And it's a bit like that in a way. So,
yeah. Yeah. Well, I was just, it makes sense. Like if you're away from something for a while, when you come back to it, it's kind of foreign, especially if you've been spending so much time in a different layout. It's like you go back to this one, things just seem a little different because you're so used to what you had,
Very much so. But yeah, it looks like an interesting little update from Ableton. I hope that they'll bring more. This seems to be, I'm hoping that it's the first of a few little announcements from there. The fact that it's in beta is quite nice, and then it'll be a nice big update for us.
Is there a date for when it'll go live for everyone?
Not here, no. Okay. Not from what I can see.
Maybe they haven't announced it. I was just curious.
Yeah, you can join the beta program now. It doesn't say anything about when they're going to release it. But yeah, it's basically, it might not all be working, so they're like asking for feedback as per beta test.
Yeah, I mean it's a beta, so I get it.
It makes sense, yeah. So yeah, that's.
And Bendu says seems like audio rate. I think that's modulation. Yeah, that definitely had a sound of that on that one.
So yeah, exciting times. Yeah, any more on that one?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, let us know what you think, guys.
Just looking into the one we've got next.
Giz it, basically.
What's that, Eon Lake?
Giz it.
Giz it. This is more of a public service announcement than anything else. We all know that yesterday was I was going to say SP404 day, just 404 day. Way to butcher a slogan, Curtis. Yeah.
SP404, 404. It's the same thing.
But they, it was SP4. Okay, it was SP404 day. I did it again.
It was 404 day, but yes, we'll let it slide because SP is part of it.
It is. But they released free.
Hold on there. Let me just cherish this for a second. While you talk about it, give me a minute. Carry on. Go ahead.
For those.
I'll just hold it. Just caress it.
For those who don't know, Sumwalker is a massive fan of the 404. They released an official Beatmaker sample pack, which includes, if I come down here, includes 51 shots, 14 loops, and 64 patterns, or four SP404 Mark II banks with 64 patterns. Can you put that in plain English, please, Sumwalker?
I'm sorry, say again. I had unplugged my headphones and had to plug them back in. The cost of holding a 404.
4 SP404 Mark II banks with 64 patterns.
Okay, so that would be a bank is one of, it's all 16 of these. Sorry, let me just...
Let's bring you back into focus, shall we?
Yeah, not you. Come on, StreamYard. The StreamYard duck is just messing with us today. So that would be, here we go. That's because you're messing with it too, Curtis. I see. You're screwing with everything. Stay away from the controls. So that would be these 16. 16 is one bank, so it would be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all that. Yeah, so it adds what, 4 of those? So you get 4 banks of sound.
4 banks of sound.
Yeah.
I imagine that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And then 51 shots and 14 loops. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I saw some of the samples are from Non-Juror, and he just put out a very cool EP for 404 Day. I would advise checking it out. He's got a live performance of it on his YouTube.
Is that the one that you retweeted today?
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah, he makes some awesome videos with the SP. So yeah.
Okay.
And just about Ableton really quick. I hate to go back, but we have to for a second. He says, sorry, the audio rate modulation is what impressed me. Probably light on CPU too. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like, didn't they also add some, like they lighten the CPU usage in general on Ableton, you said, or something? So
yeah. MPE settings, yeah.
Yeah. Back to the SP.
Yeah. So if Non-Juror is your guy for today, let's start with his demo song. They do sound really pretty cool. And obviously these are just demo songs, but you know, make your imagination go wild. So here we are. It's like playing PTA. Awesome.
Yeah, he shredded on the guitar in most videos, so yeah.
Let's do one more. Let's do Metaphor.
Yeah.
That snare, man.
You can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. And it looks like it's a free download if you have a Roland account and the Cloud Manager. Which I believe the Cloud Manager is free. I think I have that just to move sounds and stuff. Yeah, so it's free if you have it. It should be. I don't think it was exclusive to 404 Day, was it, Curtis?
It was to celebrate 404 Day.
Okay.
So I think it's still there, but I mean they're like, hey, it's 404 Day. Let's have some samples.
Well, I would say that
Day.
If I had one criticism of the 404, or at least everything surrounding it, is that you can do beats on it. Yeah, we know. It can probably do some other stuff as well.
It definitely can. I think it's very
different libraries.
Well, especially the old SX was like very catered to that kind of sound. The Mark II is much more opened up with higher bit rates and all that stuff. But especially with before like the pattern stuff that the 404 Mark II brought, a lot of it was resampling and things like that. So it was definitely more of a lo-fi sound and just like production thing. But yeah, you can do a lot with it. I think it's just that it still has that legacy of being a beat making device. So yeah.
Very much so. But I'm sure there's a lot you could do with it. A hell of a lot.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to hear some slightly different sample packs come out for it.
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably some, but yeah.
Like a death metal. That would be great sample packs for there.
I've seen someone do metal on MPC, so
yeah. Some blast beats in there.
Yeah.
If you're making death metal and you're making it specifically on the SP404, please put it in our Discord. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. So yeah, wonderful. So yeah, that's that. So we can still got quite a bit to do today. We still got the marketing minute. We got to bring FCC in, who's going to be talking with us for the round robin, because the round robin is his this week. So shall we move across to the marketing? Yeah. Before we do, if anyone has found any news that we've missed and that we want to cover, and you think that we should be covering, please let us know. We love, like Bendu gave us the Ableton stuff for today. We are 3 people looking at stuff on the news. If you feel like we've missed anything, let us know. It'd be wonderful. So yes,
like Sunwalker to talk about Ableton some more.
From a place of complete non-knowledge, sure, yeah.
Specifically,
I use it in 2020. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
And real quick, HR Terror says, "Oh my God, death metal, sign me up." Yeah, if my wrist permits with guitar, I might try and do some death metal on there in the next couple months. That sounds fun.
some madly compressed drums, you know, some really like a little bit industrial. Just get some mental guitars on there. It'd be easy, wouldn't it?
I would.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to like combine it with some of those effects, you know? The effects on the SP with that would be pretty crazy.
Very much so. So yeah.
And HR Terror also added he was lurking until he heard metal. Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. And yeah, I mean, I love metal, so I'm always happy to talk metal.
Maybe we need to branch out, you know, indie electronica and death metal. Maybe that's kind of what the new niche we need to find.
Or like industrial electronic metal. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Like the guy from Godflesh does that with his project, JK Flesh. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So what's going on in the marketing world, Samwhopper? Tell us.
Yeah, this was just a quick one. As I know that Curtis has been going all in on the live streams, and I've been doing some over on my YouTube channel as well. And obviously, we live stream here every week, as we are currently. But they're just quickly adding. YouTube has added the ability that viewers can react live, and it will pop up on a live stream. So like it's like when you message on Instagram, if you respond to a story and you hit like a smiley face or a heart, you can do that on the live stream and it'll pop up. They claimed that they noticed it adds more engagement, which makes sense. It's driving engagement and stuff. I believe it said though that it won't show who reacted. Like it won't say, you know, like Sunwarper hearted. It just shows a heart.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's meant to drive engagement. Do you want me to share the video?
I don't remember what part of that video but just, yeah, share it real quick. Cause this is for anybody that's trying to grow their YouTube channel. YouTube has a creators channel all about things they're adding each week to YouTube, things they're changing, things that are like different, what they're doing and stuff. Creator Insider is the channel. We will post it in the chat if anybody wants to follow it. It's definitely worth watching because they talk all the things they're changing to the UI, to algorithms, this type of stuff. So it's definitely worth it. I think it's at the beginning. Yeah.
We've talked about our timed reactions experiment on the channel before. If you're unfamiliar, we'll leave more information in the description. We're happy to announce that we're now launching reactions on live. Through our experiment with timed reactions on long-form videos, we've learned that giving viewers the ability to react and see how others react during certain moments strengthens the sense of community. So we wanted to bring that experience to live as well. Viewers on iOS can now react to live streams in real time by tapping the reaction that corresponds to how they are feeling. They can choose from these reactions. Both creators and other viewers will see the reactions, but they will not be able to see which user left which reaction.
Yeah,
as reactions are anonymous.
Okay.
So I haven't. How did it go to Eon Lake there? Sorry, Eon Lake, but at least there's your neutral reaction. I suppose we'll just show it one more time for everyone to see. But I don't see it on my. I'm on our live stream here just for chat to see the chat, but I don't see the reactions yet. But I haven't updated the app if it's live yet. I don't know if anybody's seeing it, but yeah.
Not yet. I'm disappointed to see that there's no emoji for existential dread.
How would they do that though? What would it be? Just like a person with a cup of coffee and just like completely defeated looking or something? Yeah. I don't know.
Or just my face, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you can contact Creator Insider, see what they say. Maybe they can add it for you. You know,
it'd be nice.
Everything. And FCC, we see you. We'll get you on in a second, but he said maybe EDM. That's what EDM stands for, electronic death metal. And HR Terror said he likes what he's thinking. Yeah, I agree. I'm all for electronic death metal. That sounds great.
What took so long, hey?
Yeah, what took so long? Good point. Yeah,
very much so. Eon Lake, thoughts on the new reactions on live stream?
They seem a little bit limited to me, I think. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. You know, I'm not going to sit here and start trashing it like I always do. But yeah, I mean, a few more reactions. Is this not like Facebook 3 years ago or something? So live streaming, I used to remember seeing constant streams.
Instagram too. Yeah.
Wow. How 3 years
ago. The difference is it's now on YouTube.
Now it's on YouTube. Brilliant. They get closer all the time. Yeah. Hard to get that excited, but I'll probably use it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a massive thing. It's just an interesting little addition they've added that brings one other angle to live stream viewership and interaction and things like that.
Yeah, if it doesn't have aubergines and peaches on it, I can't really see.
Always the highbrow content, eh?
Yeah, like brings the intellectual level up quite a bit.
You know what I mean, though? Some people are going to want that.
Can you imagine that, though?
Maybe they're working on it. It's those two plus the existential dread. Those are the next three emojis they're adding. Yeah,
they're just trying to get them right, you know.
Yeah,
fine tuning.
Curtis, you just dropped off for a second, but when you come back in, you've been going live a bit. What's your take on it?
I mean, yeah, it's cool. I think it's again, it's nice. It's there. It's nice to see people interact. It's nice. I mean, a lot typing is cumbersome. Like I do. Am I streaming again? There we go. If you're streaming late at night, and if you're like me, you are encumbered with herbs. The idea of typing to express yourself might be difficult. Just to push an emoji might be a bit better. And so, yeah, fine. Just do more ways to communicate is never a bad thing. I think that's what the internet is built for.
Yeah.
Would it be nice to see more than 5? Of course, but I mean, it's fine. It'll do for now.
It's a start.
Let's
put it that way, right?
Yeah. What about you, Sam Walker?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I've been going live every couple of weeks in addition to my videos, and it's really fun to work with the chat to like make a song. That's kind of what I've been doing. Like before I post polls to like help determine how or the type of song I'm going to make with what gear, things like that, and then we all in the chat like go, oh yeah, why don't you resample that? And I'll be like, okay, yeah, let me resample that and build a song. So it's fun. So I think seeing emojis, they don't really aid in that, but at least it's like a thing of like, oh, I'm really digging this thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, great. Good to see. So it's just a small thing, but I think it's just another way or level to add engagement and things like that. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Let us know what you guys think in the chat, watching back in the clips on Spotify, or if you're listening to this on Apple Music, let us know.
Podcast.
Oh yeah, sorry, Apple Podcasts. That's the one.
They have too many different things.
Leave an emoji if you want.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know. We'd be keen to hear. We are just 3 people with opinions that are no better or worse than anyone else's. So we'd like to know what you think. So yeah, on to the round robin. This is for anyone tuning in who's new. This is the part of the show where we bring a topic to the table about music production, be it the production process or something existential, talking about existential dread, or something just about how we produce and get on with our lives. And this week, it's brought to us from FCC, frequencycontrol.center, who is our label mate. And he's actually in the lobby. He's going to be joining us for this one because it's his. And he's got a brand new album coming out next week, out on Audionautic Records.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
Do that. Yeah.
Hello. What's going on?
Hello.
All right.
How are we?
We're good, man. How are you?
Good. Yeah. Really good. Hello.
Oh, that's good to hear. What
you guys? Eon Lake. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've been working on any electronic death metal or what?
Not really my kind of thing. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. You don't want to branch out a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, I'd have to get my guitar out the loft and get it restrung, but yeah, not really my kind of thing, I'm afraid.
It's all good. I see those tape machines, though. Those are looking cool, man. You've been working with the tape loops much? Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
It takes a bit of effort to get it down and get it going and loop it around stuff, but yeah, it's good fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you brought the round robin, so why don't you share the question you got and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so I was working on a track. Well, I've had a couple of weeks of really battling stuff and not really getting anywhere, and then I had a couple of hours and this track kind of just splurged out and it was great, but it had a real sound of another band. I'm not going to say who, but you can probably guess. And I was like, oh man, it's so good. You know, it's so good, but it does sound quite a lot like them. And I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know whether to scrap it or carry on working with it a bit more and putting my kind of vibe on it a little bit more, taking it away from, you know, what it sounded like, or just to go, nah, it's good. I'm going to use it. I'm just going to use it as it is. Because, you know, there are people out there making a lot of money by sounding like other people, you know, so why not?
Genre-based music is kind of that anyway, really, isn't it? There are usually rules that define a particular sound, so it's not unheard of. Interesting. It's a good question. I've not had a problem that strong. I have accidentally ripped off an Orbital lead line once.
Well, now I'm going to look for that.
Well, I didn't release it. But I was like listening to something. I thought, I can hear a tune that goes with that beautifully. And I recorded it and thought, hang on a minute. I know that. It's like, oh my God, delete.
How could you? How could you?
But yeah.
But it's okay. You can sample stuff, and you can, you know, you can take other people's melodies a little bit, and you know, all of that is kind of, it's okay, you know.
Yeah, it can be. I usually hear things, and 99% of the time it's me. But it just taught me that sometimes when you hear something, it's because you've actually heard it before, not because it's a moment of inspiration, and it's important to know the difference between the two. But yeah,
so you didn't release it yet?
Yeah, I released it, but it didn't have that lead line on it.
Did you change the lead line?
I had a good laugh. I deleted it and recorded something else.
Okay, with the same synth,
same everything else. Yeah, because that was me.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just this one line. I thought, oh, I can hear a tune. I can hear a tune. Hang on, what is it? It's this, isn't it?
Curtis, what about you? What's your take? Well, actually, FCC, what did you do with the song? Where did you land?
I did.
Yeah, well, that's quite interesting. So I kind of initially, I thought, nah, it's too close. But then I do this thing where when I'm working on a track, when I'm going to sleep, I put the earphones in and I kind of drift off to it, leave it on repeat, really quiet, drift off to it, get that kind of subliminal thing going on. And actually, after a couple of nights of doing that, it kind of went off in a slightly different direction. And now that I've put my kind of tint on it, it feels more me and less how it started. And actually, I think it's better for it. You know, it feels better for it.
When you've moved away from that vibe.
Yeah, I've kept the essence. You know, there were certain things in there that were really hitting that kind of yes moment in the track, and the way the notes interplay and the chords, all that's there. I've just tweaked it a bit, and actually, you know, that was all it took, was a bit of a tweak, and now I'm like, okay, it's gone off in a different direction, because initially it was just you know, you kind of sketch stuff out when you've got an hour or two. And this track just kind of splurged out, and I went, yeah, that's great. But now that I'm working on it and it's gone in slightly different direction, yeah, it's good. And so I think I've answered my own question. Just carry on, work on it. Keep it
see
going.
what everyone else thinks. Have you guys ever had that problem?
Yeah, Curtis, what's your take?
Well, I mean, have I had anything that's come out? I'm trying to think if I've got anything that maybe on some of the older stuff, like pre Curtis stuff. Yeah. I've always my saxophone teacher taught it to me when I was a kid. It's like there's no such thing as originality, because in a similar vein to what you said, Ian, like everything you kind of create is a creation of something that you've heard before or some variation of that. And I feel like it comes down to flow. And if you pour something out and it genuinely comes from within, and you're emulating you and what you feel is right, even if it happens to sound like something, it's still you. You know, it's only Renaissance era copyright laws about paper that created the notion of copyright. You know, whereas. Okay, if you're going, okay, I like taiko, so I'm going to make a taiko track, and then you write a taiko track and it comes out with a bass line similar to taiko, then probably you might want to tweak that a little bit. But if it's just something that you've just poured your heart out and it happens to sound something similar and you vibe with it, I think, again, if you're comfortable with how it sounds and you're comfortable with the creation process, and you know, within your heart you feel like it's a genuine expression of yourself, then go for it. If you're a little bit dodgy about it and you're like, ooh, that's a bit, I don't know, that's a bit bonobo, which is actually a really good expression if you think about it. Mate, that's so bonobo.
Bonobo.
Like, then you've got to think about that. That's where I sit. I suppose it's how it feels. Essentially, it's all up in them feels.
Yeah. Some more.
It's tough because I feel like it's a fine line between emulation, inspiration, and creativity, right? Because it's like we are products of what we experience, and be it music, existence in general. We're products of what we experience to a degree, and then we reinterpret that based on our own experience and all the other things we've experienced and how we put it in. So yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree, especially with what Curtis was saying, where it's like, yeah, maybe going like, I'm going to make a song that sounds just like taiko, and like purposely being like, okay, I've got the guitar that's, you know, delayed and very percussive, and then I've got those 4 on the floor drums and the big lush pads, and like you just mirror it exactly. Yeah. But some people do that, I would think, or another band or something, and maybe it's what they want to do, and maybe that's okay. I don't know. But I guess your mileage may vary depending on what you want to do and what your goal is with it. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I when I started making music, I was like, I want to learn how to make like the warbly synths from Boards of Canada, or you know, the guitars from taiko, this or that. And then you kind of grow from that, and you add in, like, I listened to a lot of metal, so I wanted to add in more distorted guitars and stuff like that. And so kind of merge all your different influences and stuff like that. And yeah, so I mean, I feel like I'm kind of just rambling, but that's where it kind of takes me, is just like, you are a product of what you listen to, what you experience, and you're telling it from your own unique way. So if I thought something sounded like a band, maybe that's just what I think because that's how I hear them. But what if someone else thinks differently? Like, I've thought a song I've made before sounded like Boards of Canada, and I sent it to people, and people were like, oh, that sounds like so-and-so. And it's like, who? So, you know, yeah.
It's very subjective, isn't it? I mean, I suppose it depends how much it sounds something as well. But.
And Pat adds, everything is a remix video is a good watch for this kind of thing. Yeah, we'll have to check it out. I'm not familiar with that, but from the name, I can assume what it's getting at, or should be getting at. Yeah, we'll check it out.
But yeah, I mean, I was thinking it would depend how much it sounded like something and at what stage I was in it. I think I'd probably keep it if it's something that I've written and I like it and it's honest, like the guys were saying. But if I was still writing it, it might color my production choices for the rest of the track, where I might sort of steer away from other things that would just add to that and maybe, you know, give it a slightly different take. But I don't know. I mean, I'm one of those people, I can't copy things if I try. You know, if I wanted to sound like taiko, and I really like taiko, that would be the best way for me to do something that sounds nothing like taiko.
There you go. Yeah.
It's having that sort of idea. You might start in the right direction, but I'd only go off on a tangent and do something completely different. So I don't know. I think I would sit on it a bit. I wouldn't make too many decisions. I think also one thing you can do is not make a decision, and you can do as many different takes on the same a sketch of an idea as you like, and go, right, well, how many different ways could I do this, and treat it like a game. And that, I think, would give me the sort of frame of reference, a little more clarity about whether or not I thought it sounded too much like something anyway. I do like doing things like that, trying to gamify production a little bit when you get a bit stuck. So I think I might try doing something like that as well. Or the old remix, remix something that you haven't even finished writing yet. If you do think it sounds a bit too
Eon Lake special,
go for a remix.
I'd be curious, FCC, because okay, there's the difference between the art that we create and the art that the consumer consumes, right? So if you hit us up, okay, this is the track, and then we listen to it, I wonder if we'd have the same connection that you made, because obviously you've got your influences and you've got where you're at, and then I've got my influences and where I'm at, and they could be miles apart. If a line could speak English, we wouldn't understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying, in a very roundabout, weird way.
Yeah.
You might have
so everything we make now comes from everything that's happened before, but that's different for me than it is for you. And so what I'm splurging out and thinking, that sounds too much like that, would be completely different for other people. So I tell you what, I'll put it on the Discord.
Yeah, so
there you go.
Yeah. And you can all have a listen and go, no, what are you talking about? It's rubbish.
Well, don't tell us what you thought it sounded like.
Yeah, let's keep it open.
No, well, that's why I didn't say earlier.
Yeah.
So
Discord, and we'll all say, and then you'll go, no, it doesn't end those. So I'll spend the whole night reworking it, and then I'll put it on, and then we'll see where we are.
Well, then it loses the point, though. You're coloring it with the conversation.
Yeah, I've got the original one, so I'll put that on Discord.
There you go.
Yeah, and
let's check it out.
Let me know.
We'd like to know, again, guys listening back in the chat on Apple Podcasts and Spotify these days. What do you think? Where do you sit with this? Have you ever created a track which you think sounds like something similar to what's already out there, and what did you do with it? We'd be keen to know. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to the table, FCC. That's wonderful.
That's good. And that made me think. That did.
Yeah.
FCC will be joining us next week because Analog of Traces LP is being released next week on Audionautic Records. To be joining us for the show, we're having a little listening party. It's gonna be fun. How are you feeling about it, FCC?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous actually, but yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. It's a great album. Yeah. So yeah, we'll showcase some of the tracks on it.
Thank you.
The first single will be out on our Audionautic Records Bandcamp this Friday as part of the pre-order for the album, and then the album will be out on Bandcamp and all streaming, including Apple Music for Curtis. It's not podcast, but music. If you want to check it out, it'll be out next Friday. But yeah, it's a really good album, especially for fans of the more pastoral IDM, early Black Dog, Boards of Canada, stuff like that. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's good.
Yeah, and you get to ask all about it.
Yeah.
Join us next week. Get some questions in.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
We'll be live at the normal time. FCC will be joining us for the whole shebang. Gonna have a selection of tunes. Actually, we haven't spoken to you about this, FCC. We need some tunes for you. What you want to showcase? And then we will.
Can I pick them?
Yeah, we're gonna.
No, you're not allowed.
No, this is nothing to do with your album, sir.
Eon Lake. Let Eon Lake pick them.
No, we'll ask StreamYard Lake. The little
last
duck
stream
at the
logo.
top.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
that wants us to
Yeah.
play, and then we'll go from there.
It's going to be a good laugh. But looking forward to having you. Thank you ever so much to everyone
Yeah.
for joining in this week. It's been lovely to hear what you've been up to. A couple of new faces in the chat this week, and that is awesome to see. We love new faces. We love old faces as well, obviously, but nice to see some new faces in here as well. So thank you ever so much for joining us.
Yeah, and Bendu asks if that song we were talking about sounds like someone's style or a specific track. Well, Ben, listen to it on the Discord when FCC puts it up, and you can decide and let us know, because that's what we want to see, whether what everybody thinks. It's just a good little exercise in seeing what we all think about, like what we think about our music versus what other people, how they hear it, because I find it's very different for me. So it's an interesting little exercise in it. But until next week, you can check out our playlist with the Audionautic Radio playlist over on Spotify. The link's in the description. Got the latest in independent and chill electronic music. And then Starstream in 2 weeks for our patrons. We'll see you over there. And other than that, head over to the Discord and we'll talk over there.
One more final piece before we all go. This show was brought to us by our patrons. Thank you ever so much for your support. We love it. If you've liked the show, if you're vibing with what we do, consider becoming a patron. We are currently on a target to make StreamYard, to buy the subscription for StreamYard, to sadly get rid of the duck, but also...
Well, we could keep it, but we could also add our own logo.
Our own duck.
And it does a lot more.
Lakes.
We can stream in 1080p. We can create shorts and clips. It records it. There's a lot we can do. We can add a bunch more backgrounds so that you don't have to just see. Well, you can't really see it now, but if you see that, let's see if this does it. See the blue background in the back? We can make our own backgrounds and things like that. Curtis, I saw you got spooked there. We can just switch on back over. But yeah, if you want to help, just head over to the Patreon. We'd love to have you over there. There's a lot of cool stuff if you join. But of course, just hang out is more than enough. So does anybody have anything they want to add?
Special thanks to
Yeah,
Kenny A.
CC, what's up?
I'm going to Patreon.
Oh,
well, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Let's do it. Let's get everybody doing it so that we can.
There we
do
go.
More of this
He's pledging
everything. Yeah, I'm pledging. I'm going to top tier whatever it takes.
Well, we appreciate it, FCC. I mean, we can keep the duck if you want it, though, but maybe we could put like the Audionautic logo next to it.
I want to see Eon Lake's face. That's what I want to see.
There we go. Yeah,
two Eon Lake's faces.
Up in the corner.
Yeah,
in the corner.
Yeah. So Eon Lake and then Eon Lake. That's what I want.
Can it still say powered by Eon Lake?
Yeah, I mean, we could make it do what it. Curtis has the power with
It would be a massive
Adobe.
lie, but yeah.
Yeah, powered by modular. That's what we can do.
Very much so. So yes, once again, guys, thank you ever so much. Looking forward to next week. The four of us will be here. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be amazing. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
And just real quick, I want to add, we'll see you all in the Discord, but Benji says, that's the line for me, but he's with Eon Lake. I try to emulate and fail. So yeah.
It'd be a great way to go there sometimes.
Yeah, it's an interesting question you brought, FCC, and it's I think it's a different line for everybody. And then part of what I'm really interested in, especially with like putting that song up, is like I was saying, seeing that difference in how we personally interpret our music versus how everybody else takes it. Because I mean, I've had it where someone like I send it and I'm thinking it sounds way too much like band, X band. And they don't mention, they're like, oh, it sounds so cool. It sounds like you, or it sounds like this or that. And I'm like, what? So yeah, I'll be very curious to see what everybody thinks. But I'm sure it's a banger because that's all you make. So
very much so. Put it in the Discord. Put it in the Discord.
I will. Yeah. I'll do it. Give me half an hour. It'll be in there.
All right. I'm holding you to it. Half an hour. I'm starting a timer.
There we go. See everyone next week. Much love. Take it easy. Have a great week.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.